Welcome to the Danger Lounge, where all your dreams come true and every day is Saturday night. I'm your host, the Dangerous One, Jason Danger. Coming to you live, sort of. By the time I put this, it won't be live anymore, but that's okay. Sounds good. If you like this video, provide you any value whatsoever, you know what to do. Smash the like button, send it, flick it on over to a friend that gives a fuck, and hit the notification buttons. You know more about this shit than I do. Just share and share like. We're going to call this segment of Flirting with Danger a subsegment called Story Time with Jason Danger. The reason why we're going to call it Story Time with Jason Danger is because I'm going to tell you a story. And one of my favorite cartoons when I was a young man, if you remember this far back, was He-Man, Masters of the Universe. And He-Man, one of the great things about 80s and 90s cartoons before they got into all this bullshit nowadays where there's not even cartoons. We won't get into that. I feel bad for this generation. Anyway, back to the original point. He-Man, I have the power, remember, with his sword and all that. And Battle Cat and Orko and all those. At the end of a phenomenal episode of He-Man, where he would fight good versus evil, would go into the battlefield of good versus evil, and He-Man would inevitably come out victorious against the evil Skeletor. At the end of said triumph, he would offer a ethical and moral lesson to the young viewers out there. Lessons that we could all get behind. It wasn't like, well, it depends on how you frame it, depends on how you look at it. From this perspective, if you're a left or a right-wing person, you might look at it. No, it was everyone could get on board with it. Things like having good character and doing the right thing and, whatever. At the end of it, you learn a little more lesson. You took that away from you. And if He-Man did it, then I could do it too. All right. And so that's what this segment, Story Time with Jason Danger, is. At the end of it, we'll try to find some moral high ground and some lesson that we can take away from said story. And the other reason is because in my circles, I'm somewhat known for my stories and experiences. I'll let you take that any direction you want. But I would often play a game with my friends and it would be a context. So someone would say, Jason, tell us a story. I'd say, all right, well, give me a context, give me a topic or a subject, and I'll think it'll jog my memory and I'll tell you a story. Some are better than others, but most of them are pretty entertaining. And so here's one of them. Okay, and at the end of it, we'll make it make sense. No guarantees. Okay, so once upon a time, many years ago, there was this very young woman. We won't give her a name. I don't even know if actually I do remember her name, but anyway, cute girl. She was only about 20. I don't even think she was 21. She was 20 years old. And I was working at a gym at this time and in sales, and I got to know her. I took her through some sales presentation. I took her through a couple workouts, whatever, the whole deal. And she would flirt with me, and I would, and then we would text each other, and then like she would do bizarre things. I knew she was kind of into me, right? And I was kind of into her. She was cute, attractive, and very tiny, like 4'10" tiny, very tiny. But anyway, she would say. She would say things to me, very flirtatious, a little bit over the top occasionally, and then occasionally she would send me text like, this is not the or there, but she would solicit me for pics, dick pics, for example. Now, here's the thing. I don't got to know shit to know that women don't generally solicit dick pics. Not really a thing that they do unless you build them up over time, and there's a way to do that to make them feel like they want to, right? Like they encourage them in their own way when they're ready and you're patient and all that. I didn't solicit this conversation at all at this point, and especially not this early in our association. There was no need for her to be asking for it, so I knew something was up. And so she asked me for dick pics. I was like, no, just kind of ignored that one. I know that where this is going. And sure enough, she's 20 years old, not very mature. She was having a bet with a friend to see how many guys she could get pics from. I was not one of those idiots. No, that did not. I don't know how many guys she got to fall for that, but got to wake up pretty early in the morning. This ain't my first rodeo. You know what I'm saying? So Anyway, long story short, I was and I said, something about we should hang out. I don't know how that came up, but she was constantly trying to get me to take her to this favorite seafood restaurant of hers. Oh, I'll do this, but I'm gonna go to a seafood restaurant. And I'm thinking to myself, I barely know you. I'm not taking you anywhere. I obviously already know you play games. I'm not doing any of that nonsense. Get your nice guy friends to do that. I ain't that guy. You know what I'm saying? So that didn't happen. And she would continue to try to get me to do this. And I said, hey, look, you can come over to my place. You can drink my beer if you like. I have some Heinekens in the refrigerator. We can have epic conversations. If something materializes from there, I assume it's going to be mutually enjoyable. And you can come in. And here's the other thing, other key piece of information. She was going away into the army, and in a very short time. Okay, nothing was happening here. Right? There was no long term. I was not interested in her in long term. I was interested in the here and the now. Thank you very much. And she was not the type of girl that I was really like. She was cute. I liked talking to her, but that was about it. Like she didn't have really much going on besides that. And I don't mean that to be mean. It just was not my type. Okay, like there was not a lot of layers to her. I like women with layers, and not a lot of layers to her. And she obviously was playing games. I'm not into women that are playing a lot of games. Okay, not into that. Lost interest pretty quickly in terms of that. And plus, I knew she was going to the army. So she says to me, she says, Jason, uh, okay, like she reluctantly came over, but she was like, you could tell she wanted to come over, but she was kicking and fighting. She wanted to put up a fight to get me to do something for her, to make her feel valuable, right? Because one thing we know about women, gentlemen, is that no matter how sexually liberated a specific woman is, sexually liberated a specific woman may be, no woman wants to feel like she's easy or she's a whore. Okay? Can we even use that word anymore nowadays? I just did. No woman wants to feel that way. And so they will do whatever it takes, no matter how bad they want to do it. They'll be reluctant to do certain things that they think that's not making them look a certain way. They have to feel like they can save face first before they do that, right? You have to make them feel comfortable. So she kept trying to get me to take it. I said, hey, look. She goes, oh, I don't want to feel like, a hooker or something, right? Something to that effect. And I said, hold on, let me try to understand this. You're trying to convince me that I should take you out to spend money, take you out to dinner at your favorite restaurant when you're going away, like it was like 2 weeks or something. I was supposed to take you out, spend my money, so that in exchange you feel okay about having sex with me. That's what you're, or because that doesn't make you feel like a hooker or anything, right? That's not a transactional thing at all. No. So why don't I just give you the money? So instead of taking you out to dinner, why don't I just give you the money? Right? So I had to take you out to dinner. You then feel okay after I take you out to said seafood place for you to participate in sexual shenanigans with me. Well, now I feel like a lame ass because I'm basically paying you for sex. No, I don't need to do that. No, thank you. Because then I feel like a desperate guy. That's not who I am. So no, that's not going to happen. This is how it's going to go down. You said, little girl that's going into the military, you're going to come over to my place. You're going to drink my beer that I paid for. Okay. But it's like a friend coming over and we're both mutually enjoying it. So I don't feel so bad about that. We're going to have epic conversations. We're going to flirt with each other. If the mood hits right, we're probably going to make out for a long time and have wretchedly wicked good times in the bedroom. Which, as fate would have it, is exactly what went down. And then she left. She was on her way. It was a mutually enjoyed situation, I promise you. And then later on, we were communicating again, and she was still trying to get me to take her on this thing. Right. And now she was using the urgency of going into the military as a means in which to get something out of me. Right. This is how a lot of these women operate, particularly if they're young gentlemen. So that's one of the lessons, particularly if they're young. They're always trying to leverage this. because they don't really know how the game's played yet. They see a guy, particularly if the guy's older, as a either something to get something out of him. Usually they consider these guys dumb and desperate, right? Because a lot of older guys do, oh, I'm a young chick, he'll do everything I want for him, blah, blah, blah. So you can play that angle. You can use that knowledge to gain leverage on the situation if you so choose. If you think she's trying to take advantage of you, just take that into account. Bottom line is, ladies, if you want to not feel like it's transactional like that, you want it to be meaningful, then it's the opposite of what a lot of you are doing if you're acting like this woman. That's the lesson. Because she felt better about the transaction, me doing something first for her to have sex with me, when she knew she was going away and nothing was going to materialize from this. No. The real thing is, we're going to do something mutual. You get enjoyment, which is conversation ideally. I get enjoyment, which is conversation ideally. You have a beverage, multiple beverages if you want. Cold beverage if you like. I'll get you wine. I can get you liquor, whatever you like. This from my stash. You enjoy it. I enjoy it. We make out if you so choose. You enjoy it. I enjoy it. Again, it's a mutually beneficial thing. It's a beautiful thing when that happens. And then assuming we have sex and it's wonderful, which in this case I thought it was. I'm pretty sure she did. There's certain evidence for that. We both walk away happy people. I don't see the problem. That's a good transactional dynamic. However, if you're telling me I got to do X, Y, and Z in order for you to sleep with me, now that makes you the hooker, and that makes me a desperate hooker seeker. I don't like that dynamic as much as the former. So the lesson here, ladies and gentlemen, is this. I don't know. Go watch He-Man. Be safe, not too safe, stay dangerous. Ciao.